Hello and welcome to Wagner's Tech Talk. Today we're going to check out the latest device from Anbernic, the RG351MP. We'll unbox it, take a look at what it has to offer, and of course, play some games. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and open the box to the RG351MP. This particular unit was sent to me for purposes of review by Anbernic. However, as always, I will provide you with my honest feedback on what I like and what I dislike about this device. The packaging is rather plain, nothing too exciting. There's the specs, and on the side shows you all the buttons, and this one appears to be the ocean blue color. Let's take a look. We'll go ahead and open up the box, and let's take a look at the accessories first. First off, we have wet and dry wipes for cleaning the screen, a USB Type-C to USB Type-A female OTG adapter for connecting the Wi-Fi adapter to the device. There is no built-in Wi-Fi, so you will have to use this in order to connect up to the internet. There's also a USB Type-C to USB Type-A charging cable, and a secondary 64GB micro SD card with your games and a screen protector. Here's the manual. We'll just take a look at it real quick. If you want to see any of this, feel free to pause. Now we'll take a look at the RG351MP itself, take it out of the packaging, and this is what it looks like. I do like the ocean blue metallic look, but first let's take a look at the specifications on the RG351MP. The CPU is an RK3326 quad-core at 1.5 GHz. The GPU is a Mali G31MP2. It has a 3.5-inch OCA IPS display at 640 by 480 pixels and 1 GB of DDR3L RAM and a 16GB micro SD card for the firmware and a 64GB micro SD card preloaded with games. It has a 3500 mAh battery which should last around 6 hours. On the back of the unit, it does have two rubber grips for support and stability on your desk. On the bottom of the unit, there are two stereo speakers, as well as a micro SD card slot for the firmware, a reset button, and a secondary micro SD slot for your games. Speaking of which, I'll go ahead and install that second micro SD card, which was included in the box. On the top, you do have your L1, L2, and R1, R2 buttons, as well as an OTG connection, your headphone jack, and your DC power input. And on the left-hand side, you have a volume rocker, either up or down. I prefer the dial type myself. On the right-hand side, you have your power button. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and we'll see how long it takes to boot. It looks like roughly 27 seconds. Now I'll quickly flip through the different emulators that are included on the RG351MP. Keep in mind, some emulators are going to play better than others, specifically N64, Dreamcast, and PSP are going to be pretty much hit and miss on various games, just like any other retro gaming handheld running the RK3326 CPU. And if you want to connect to your Wi-Fi network, you can connect the OTG dongle and Wi-Fi adapter to instantly transform your device into a magical unicorn. Why Anbernic didn't go with an internal Wi-Fi chip is totally beyond me. Another important note is that the included adapter is 2.4 GHz only. That said, I was able to connect up to my Wi-Fi network just fine. When compared to the RG351M, you'll notice the display on the MP has a smaller bezel and is a more optimal aspect ratio for most retro games. The colors on the RG351M do appear to be a bit more saturated than the RG351MP. That said, let's take a brief look at Donkey Kong Country on the SNES on the RG351MP. The buttons on the RG351MP do feel similar to most Anbernic devices. I didn't identify any issues with them on my device. You do have an L3 and R3 button by pressing in on the sticks, and in fact you'll need to press both in order to exit to the RetroArch menu to change the settings or even exit the game. When comparing the weight difference between the RG351M and the RG351MP, there is very little difference. The MP is only around 4.3 grams heavier than the M. In terms of size, The RG351MP is a little shorter than the RG351M and about 3 millimeters taller. The display panel, which most closely resembles that on the RG351MP, is the one used on the RG351V. They are virtually identical in terms of their dimensions. I do want to mention that the aluminum shell of the device acts as a heatsink, and it will get very warm during extended gameplay sessions. Now, let's take a brief look at some gameplay. We'll kick off the gameplay playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES. Most games on the RG351MP up to and including PS1 are going to play very well. Now we'll take a look at Gran Turismo on the PlayStation. Now we'll take a look at a few games on the Nintendo 64. You will experience audio distortion on many of the Nintendo 64 games, as well as visual artifacts such as what you're seeing here. Playing Dreamcast games will also be a mixed bag. Some will play okay, while others will have audio issues and less than ideal frame rates. Now we'll take a look at Ridge Racer on the PlayStation Portable. The RG351MP is a little late to the game, in my opinion. There are a lot of new devices coming to the market soon that will make the RK3326 chipset seem a bit dated and should be able to play a larger variety of games much better. That said, I really do like the 640 by 480 display on this device. The games look great. The ocean blue finish is stunning, and the aluminum shell makes this a premium device. However, aside from the display panel, there isn't much new here. The use of an external Wi-Fi dongle seems like an odd decision in my opinion, although some may prefer not having the built-in Wi-Fi. Well, that's it for another video. If you enjoyed this look at the RG351MP, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more from Wagner's Tech Talk, please click the subscribe. And with that, I will talk to you very soon.